What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into yet another live stream. Here we are, guys. We're Victory Tuesday. We've got, 20 more Victory Tuesdays on the way, or however, I don't know how many weeks it is. What is it? Probably about 30, 40 weeks until the NFL regular season starts back up. But here we are. It was a good way to come off of a victory. Here tonight, we have the Duval Vibes podcast. And to let you guys know a little bit more about the Duval Vibe podcast, it is a podcast done exclusively on the Relevant app. You can see down in the description box down below the actual Relevant logo. That's the app right there. If you join Jaguars Fanatics, and you can join us for shows, usually on Tuesdays at 8 p.m., unless there's any kind of scheduling conflicts, which we pushed it back an hour today, and we're going to be doing this one on YouTube. So I'm just waiting for Tom McManus to kind of join us. He is my co-host. So yeah, with all that said, we'll go ahead and give some shout outs, man. Charlie Boy in the building says he's already ready for next season. What's up, Noel? What's up, AZ Jags fan 22? What's going on, Devin? Matthew said that is the most insane intro. There we go. Got to have the hype live stream intro, in my opinion. It's always fun. Who else we got? We got King David. We got J Shots. We have Jacob says, "Yo, we should bring back Colin Johnson and get rid of Taven Austin and Chenault." Well, we'll see. I mean, you might have an opportunity to get Colin Johnson back, but probably unlikely. I'm sure the Giants will try to hang on to him for a little bit, depending on what happens. So. Joining us is going to be my co-host, former Jaguars linebacker, number 55 back in the day, and you can also find him on 1010XL Fridays from 10 o'clock to noon on Jaguars Today, and of course on the Catching Up with Tommy Mac podcast here on Relevant and YouTube. We have with us Tom McManus. Hey, Tom, what's going on, man?
Hey, Dalton. Good evening, brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just it's good, man. It's a Victory Tuesday. We don't get to do many of these, man.
I know. It's funny. It's bittersweet because it was awesome to see, and then you're like, "Where the hell's that been all year long?" My gosh, it's so. I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad we ended on a high note. Trevor finally looked like the number one pick. I mean, he really made some outstanding plays. He was good with the football. He was smart with the football. Defense played great. It was like, goodness, where you guys been all year long?
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like if we can just have some consistent coaching and, just some more stable organization, that maybe we can do that from week in, week out. I mean, I don't know how many teams can lose the week prior 50-10 and go out there and beat and knock a team out of the playoffs like the way they did against the Colts, where your favorite, your 15-point underdog, you wind up winning by 15 points. It was just a crazy way for that to happen. And the streak lives on, man. It's been 2014 since the Colts have won in Jacksonville. That's I think that's like the fourth longest active streak when it comes to division opponents, when it comes to consecutive losses like that. It's nuts.
Well, I know this. Carson Wentz would never be my quarterback.
No.
I don't like. I mean, God bless. He had a good year, but he didn't look good against our team whatsoever. But it was a great game plan by Joe Cullen, and the players really executed. What did we say on Sunday on the Relevant app for the pregame? Right, we said if the defense showed up like they did against Buffalo, they really got a chance to win the game. I never thought the offense would do what they did, but hats off to them. Again, congrats to Marvin Jones Jr. for getting that nice bonus and making some good plays. And then again, Trevor Lawrence is really playing some great football.
Yeah, we were waiting for that from Trevor Lawrence, and man, just from the first drive, he was 9 for 9. They were converting big time third downs. I mean, that first set of plays, that first set of downs, he got sacked, and we came back from a 3rd and long, and just delivering strikes. And it's not like receivers were out there running crazy good routes, and they were also dropping the ball a lot, but they were kind of finding the soft spots in the zone, and they were, I guess, for the most part, they were able to kind of rally the ball in there. And it was finally good to see that out of Trevor Lawrence. And it was good for him, man. I mean, I don't think this is going to carry into week 1 of 2022 in any way, but it gives him a good sense that like right now he's got to be in a good mood and
Yeah.
he's got to be hungry for more based on the fact that he said, look, I can do it. It's just, can I do that every week? And, and that's all on him now.
Yeah, I mean, finishing on a high note's very good. Look, it should give him some confidence going into the offseason to work on his game. Hey, maybe it just clicked. I don't know. Obviously, he needs more weapons. He needs some better offensive line play. I thought Walker Little has come around and played some pretty good football overall. But yeah, look, it's a good win. It is. I don't want people to like, obviously you're going to celebrate and be excited, but that's not a microcosm of anything. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm sitting there going, oh, well, there it is. No, it's almost like, where the hell's it been? And hopefully it does carry over. Hopefully they keep the right guys. Obviously, we're all waiting on, I guess he's Keaton Balky. I don't hear anything different. I don't understand it. Now the rumor is that Tony Khan wants Balky gone, but Shad does not, and he's not wavering from what we're hearing. Hopefully that's not the correct information, but that's all you're seeing out there and hearing from people. So, but again, if he is, then we'll see who he brings in as a head coach and who they're going to add. Obviously, this team needs a lot of work. They need a lot of talent. But I think guys, stepped up, and the guys you're going to keep. You're going to keep Smoot. Obviously, you're going to keep Allen. You're going to keep Gotsis. You're going to keep Damian Wilson. Try to re-sign him. Miles Jack, the two safeties, the young safeties. Look, they're promising, no doubt. And of course, Shaquille Griffin's not going anywhere. Neither is Tyson Campbell. Maybe they get better after a year. You are going to look at replacing the offensive line, at least to a certain degree. You're going to add weaponry. You're probably not going to have the tight end room you had this year. Might have one or two. A man hurts. I don't know. O'Shaughnessy, I just don't know. He's hurt all the time. I don't know if I'm bringing him back. And then, of course, J. Rob and ETN and Chark. You start adding that up. It's not like you're that far off from putting together a really good team, but you do have to put together the right pieces. And let's just be flat honest. You got to have the right culture implemented. And hopefully they get that, they do that with the right head coach and GM combination.
Yeah, and it's crazy right now because the Giants just a few hours ago released their head coach, and a big part of that was, first of all, the fans are pretty pissed about keeping Joe Judge. They don't believe in him, and also they're out there interviewing GM candidates, and I guarantee you, a lot of GM candidates are saying, "I'm not going to accept that job with Joe Judge there." And what do? They say, "Okay, let's get him out of here." If we can't get the best guy at this position. Then get him out of there. And I'm not going to sit here, we have someone sitting here saying that, oh, like, why do you want Balky gone? His rookie class played really well. But it's because of the reputation. It's because of the fact that right now the Jaguars are being used as a practice interview. Yeah. And this is a great job that we have in place with, one of the better quarterbacks, that, a good young quarterback, when you compare it to kind of the other job openings, like, a lot of these guys are 2 and done because of the quarterback situation. Patient owner, obviously. You also have, draft capital, cap space. You have an owner that's patient. You have all this stuff, and I just don't understand Shad Khan's affinity with Trent Baalke. Yeah. It's like he's defending. The coaches are saying his kid sucks at football, and he's a overprotective dad or something. I don't know, man. It's like, but if he's going to. Right now, like the Vegas odds have like Bill O'Brien and Darrell Bevel as a top 2. Like it's like, oh my god, like it's
If he keeps
there's not much upside.
If he keeps Darrell Bevel, I'm just gonna be shocked at that. When I thought, look, the last game was a good game, but that doesn't outweigh the rest, and whoever's saying his class was good, you don't get credit for Trevor. Anybody would have picked Trevor, so forget that. ETN was hurt. Little barely played. Tyson started coming around at the end of the year. Cisco barely played. The other guys barely played. So what did he really do? And all you hear, and it's not even about the picks. It's about his track record with the organizations that he's been with, and just the trouble that he's caused amongst, coaches and other people in the personnel department. It's well documented. Nobody's defending this guy at all. And he's a drama guy. He's all about himself. I mean, these things are his reputation. and how you keep them. I get a feeling that Shad's kind of like, you know what? I'm going to do whatever the bump I want. You know what I mean? He's almost got
Yeah.
a defense attitude. Clearly, the clown. Think about this: the clowns were never talked about on TV. They were never shown on TV, and
No.
if maybe a little bit. So somebody controlled that. Was that the NFL? Telling where the producers telling those play-by-play and color guys, hey, don't bring up the clowns. We're not going to do that. It's embarrassing the owner. We're not going to, you know what I mean? I don't know. And the shot sitting there going, oh, you think that really bothers me? That doesn't bother me. That didn't even leave a dent. I heard you, of course, but I don't know. I don't know why he's doing this. To me, I said it on Relevant when we do our stuff on Relevant that if it wasn't done by Monday, I don't think it's going to be done. Now they're talking about bringing in a number two, and the number twos don't even want to come here. Like, it's documented. Coaches do not want to come here because Trent Baalke is the GM, or at least appears to be the GM.
And I'll be interested to see when a decision is made, because I believe Bill O'Brien is going to be this week. Nate Hacken and Eberflus are later in the week. So, come next week, you've interviewed every candidate. I don't know if they're going to have any kind of follow-up interviews, whether it be with, I don't know, like maybe they bring back a guy that maybe got eliminated from the playoffs. I don't like, obviously it's a new thing going on here. So, if Byron Leftwich advances to the next round, do you announce Byron Leftwich as head coach, or do you wait? I don't, that's something that we'll just have to wait and see. But, at some point you're going to say, okay, these are the candidates that, said that I'm sure over 50% of the candidates don't want to work with Trent Baalke.
Yeah.
And, if your top 2 or 3 are guys that, don't want to work with him, you had to get him out of there. And it all brings me back to 2017. In 2017, when you're looking for head coaches, the Sean McVays and the Kyle Shanahans didn't want to coach in Jacksonville because they were going to hire a guy based on whether or not they were going to work with Blake Bortles. And that's how they got into, Doug Marrone. And now you're in a very similar situation where, are you willing to work with this GM? And a lot of the times it's no. So it's I don't understand. I can't picture what's going on in Shad Khan's head anymore, because he's an impossible man to predict at this point.
Well, he is. And again, at the end of the day, his track record's not good. It's just not. You're fourth fastest owner to 100 losses. It's absolutely terrible. He's got to know that. He's got to feel that. But for whatever reason, he's not making the jump just yet. I'll tell you that if he keeps Bevel, if Bevel's a guy, then I don't know what to think. I really don't. What's this owner even thinking? How do you keep both of them? I mean
there's great candidates out there.
There are great candidates out there. I got a question for you, because I know we got a lot of young listeners, and I don't want to be this older, it's the old school, tough love. But you're hearing stories out of Miami. Brian Flores gets fired. He goes 10-6 last year, 9-8 this year. He got along with a lot of players, but rubbed a lot of the young players the wrong way. Him and Tua got in a shouting match, had a couple F-bombs thrown. He got into a shouting match with Greer, the GM. I think the owner just said, hey, I'm taking the GM and the players over you. But there seemed to be a rift. So my immediate reaction was like, Tua, you little puss. Like, what? So what? The coach yells at you. What's the big deal? But it seems to be a growing trend, and you got to adapt. Your principles don't have to change, right? You got to have that accountability, but the way you deliver them, you're going to have to adapt. But what do you think about that when you hear that Brian Flores got fired, most likely because he had a rift with his quarterback and some other young players? As a younger guy yourself, what do you think about that?
I mean, it feels like every year we're hearing more and more, oh, he's rubbing players the wrong way. The players don't like this and that. And it's almost hard for me to relate to the players because I'm not a millionaire. I haven't played football at this big level. I don't have, all these, millions of followers kind of behind me. It's a little bit weird. I don't know if it's a cop-out, because I think it might be so easy to, because there's no way a single coach can have a good relationship with everybody. I mean, Pete Carroll could have been out. Pete Carroll's the nicest guy in the world, but they could have said, oh, him and Russell Wilson were batting heads. He was out of there. It could be any kind of situation like that. So I almost think maybe it's a little bit of a cop-out, because Brian Flores shouldn't have been fired. I mean, it doesn't appear that he should have been fired. So they had to maybe try to throw some dirt on his name in that way. So, I mean, maybe it's something like that. I don't understand that firing. Maybe it was just I think it was just a GM head coach battle. I don't know if I buy players not relating to him, because I don't know. It always seemed like to me they could until he got fired. Then all of a sudden they couldn't.
Well,
So
listen, you hear locally people think Trevor should have a say in who stays and who go. I mean, does Tua? Does Tua have the say in, hey, I don't like this coach, you got to get him out of here? I mean, I wouldn't think so, but I was really shocked by that fire. Brian Flores, a product of Bill Belichick from that system. He's the one guy that, I mean, if you think about it, that's become a head coach and really had a positive seasons. You know, most of them don't do well. Matt Patricia and the likes of that. Josh McDaniels, when he tried at Denver, I mean, it doesn't work out. Now, Vrabel, I'll give you, I forgot about Vrabel. He's done pretty well.
They
but
consider him more of a Bill O'Brien tree, is what a lot of them are saying.
Okay, yeah.
And
listen,
I read a tweet. I read
Bill
a tweet
O'Brien
today.
gets a lot of people like him as a coach. I didn't mean to cut you off. They like him as an offensive coordinator, but he's hot, man. I'm seeing videos of him.
Yeah,
motherfucker.
The one in the tunnel. Did you see the one in the tunnel?
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh! I actually played that for everybody in my live stream last time. It was like. But what's crazy is I read a tweet today. I think it was by Tom Pelissero. Apparently, none of there's zero Bill Belichick assistant coaches, head coaching jobs in the NFL right now.
Wow.
You know, now with Joe Judge out, with Brian Flores out, and obviously, you know, you go back to Matt Patricia and all this stuff. It's crazy.
I'm concerned with all the openings and that we're not making a move sooner than later. That does bother me because, look, there's a lot of great openings. I mean, there are, whether it's the history of the Chicago Bears, you know, with a young QB like they have in Justin Fields, you know, whether it's the New York Giants who, I mean, coaches dream of coaching the New York Giants. You know what I mean? It's because of that history and the likes of that. And then, you know, Minnesota, I wouldn't get too excited.
Denver is a great
Minnesota.
program.
Denver would be a great place to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, come on, Shad, this is a huge decision. This is going to impact your franchise for years to come. And if you get this one wrong, and we have another 3 years, like the last 3 years, I mean, what the hell is going to happen? I mean, this fan base is going to lose it, and I won't blame them. So hopefully, you know, the longer it happens, you know what's happening. Balky's staying. I mean, right now I'm feeling like he's staying, unless you know it becomes so much that Shad keeps hearing, "Hey, Shad, I can't work with Balky. I'd love to be your head coach, but if you're going to keep him, I can't do that. I'm not going to." And not everybody has that power. Byron Leftwich can't say that. I mean, he doesn't have any track record. Doug Peterson could. Doug Peterson could say, "No, man, I'm not working with that guy. That guy's a train wreck." Although I think you said that they might have a decent relationship.
It was Peterson and Balky apparently have a decent relationship. That's the word on the street.
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just I'm hoping, you know, my glass half full approach is that they're going to conclude all the interviews. You know, they have Bill O'Brien, they have Matt Eberflus, who we just smoked his defense the other day, ironically enough.
Yeah, and now he's waiting. He's waiting. Like, he's going to wait till this game. So that means they're not making a decision this week, which it's a little troubling to me. It is.
And they have Nate Hackett. So I think the interviews conclude Saturday. And then maybe Monday he sits back and says, okay, this is what I gathered from these coaches. You know, I think I like this guy the most. But I mean, and we see, you know, apparently the Bears have like Bill Polian helping lead their search. Is our Bill Polian Trent Baalke right now? And you know, it's just really hard to imagine, unfortunately, that, you know, Baalke's going to be conducting all these interviews, and all of a sudden, you know, Shad's going to, you know, cut the head off the snake and fire him and bring in a new head coach.
Is Shad even in on these interviews? I mean, we don't know. We don't know if he's sitting there interviewing or just listening, or
I mean, we're just so in the dark right now.
Yeah, it's great, and I think he likes it that way, Shad. I mean, he's kind of been that way. You know, he doesn't really show it until he makes his decision. Some people would call that, you know, being thorough, but I don't know. His track, you know, look, you can't trust the track record. Excuse me, you can't trust it. So I I'm not going to trust him keeping Trent Baalke. Keeps Trent Baalke. I'm going to trust that. Oh, here we go again. Another. Now, granted, can the players be good enough to work through that? Maybe. As long as there's no drama. The one thing you hear since the season's ended is distraction that was inside that building, not dysfunction. Which that's part of being dysfunctional. Is that this too many distractions? It wasn't enough about football. It was everything else, and that's you're hearing that from multiple players as they finish this year and have their exit interviews and all that kind of thing. So, that's got to be settled down. You know where I stand. I think I think it's too risky to bring in an unproven coordinator. No matter we like them or not, I'm fine with I like Byron as a player. I thought he was a tough guy. I thought he threw a great deep ball. I would have thrown it deep. It would have been Air McManus, Air Coryell, Air Leftwich. I mean, just throwing it down the field because he could do that. The short and intermediate passes he struggled with, especially the short ones. He would it almost be like that cartoon where Wile E. Coyote, eats the freaking, the ball being shot at him. But no. So, but I think it's too risky, even with Dable. I mean, even with older guys that have done it. I don't know. I know people are like, well, wait a minute. What about McVay? Look what he's done. Look what the guy with the Chargers done. Look what the guy at the Packers has done. Young offensive coordinators at some point, or defense coordinators. I think Staley was a defense coordinator. You know what I mean? And they've done really well. So I just think with the way we are at and what the position we're in, it's too risky to take a chance. Because again, if it don't work, Dalton, it's 2-3 years of the same. Yeah. And I don't care how great our quarterback may or may not be. It's not going to matter if you're 3-14, 5-12 or whatever. It's not going to matter. So again, if Balky's a guy, let's see who the head coach is. If they keep them both, I really don't know what to think, and I don't want to throw out any kind of speculation, but it just wouldn't be good in my book.
I mean, I just can't imagine at the introductory press conference for whether it be Bill O'Brien or Bevel, for Shad Khan to actually sit there happy and think that he got it right with Balky and Bevel next to him. I mean, it's just I can't picture that in my head, man. And
I agree.
And we could just do so much better, man. There's tons of great candidates. Obviously, we've talked about them. I mean, if you want to get a proven head coach, I mean, Jim Caldwell, Doug Peterson, those are outstanding, guys. Either of them, both of them have their, mega pros. Do you want to get with a Super Bowl winner who's a little bit younger, or do you want, a Jim Caldwell who it's going to be his, last little hoorah, and they're just. He's going to be 67 years old. I was a little bit concerned about that going in, but now people have kind of talked me down and said, it's fine.
Well, and you hear from Miles Jack. I don't think Miles cares what the age is. He just wants structure. They just want that structure. They just want football. They just want to be able to come in and focus on that and not have to worry about any other distraction that may be out there. So, again, I think it's stability that we need. It's somebody that's proven. I just think it's too risky because those risks don't always give you reward. Look what the Giants just did, right? Joe Judge's a perfect. Matt Rule, he's on the hot seat. They thought he was going to be incredible, and he's not. He's not in a position where they're like, oh yeah, we got Matt Rule. They're like, oh, you got to prove it, buddy. You're like, you're not doing it. So if we miss. It's a problem, but we'll have to. But I'm okay. See, I'm a little biased because I know Bill O'Brien, right? I don't like what I hear about Bill O'Brien. You know what I mean? Like the outbursts, the MF people, him trading away the best players not digging him and all that. I don't like that, obviously, but I've never talked to Bill about each one of those, so I don't know his side of the story. I don't know really what went on and why all that crap went down. All we see is from the outside. You're like, DeAndre Hopkins, you out of your mind? Like, how do you get rid of DeAndre Hopkins? Yeah. How do you get rid of your best player? JJ Watt, maybe you could say that about. And just, if he does rub that many people the wrong way, we don't need that in this organization. But I will tell you this about Bill O'Brien. I take him over Darrell Bevel for the mere fact that he's a great offensive mind.
He is.
That is one thing about Bill O'Brien. He's a very good offensive mind, offensive coordinator. Brady loved him in New England. They might have butted heads, but he got a lot out of Tom Brady, especially the first maybe 10 years of his career or somewhere in that range. So I mean, I wouldn't pick Bill, out of all of them. But if it's between Bill and Bevel, I'd rather have Bill O'Brien here and just see what happens because we already know about Daryl Bevel. We
Yeah.
already know. We've seen
Yeah.
his offense. We've seen his play calling. You know,
I don't
does
know
he
if he's a
keep
leader
shot
of men
higher?
either.
I
Yeah.
don't know. He seems so quiet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, older guys don't need rah-rah. You don't need that. But he just seems like he's kind of like, I don't know, like a substitute teacher, that
Yeah,
doesn't know what he's
exactly.
doing in the classroom. But,
Yeah, I mean, he's just
you know,
seems like a booth guy, not necessarily a leader of men. But I mean,
yeah,
I just get back to the point of like, I just don't like. It just feels like it's so hard for anybody to have any kind of like contact or something like that with Shad Khan. It's like I saw Jim Irsay, after the loss yesterday, in the
yeah,
northeast end zone where the players load up on the buses. There was a line of Colts fans out there, and Jim Irsay went out and said to them, "They're like,
yeah,
look, guys, I'm so sorry about this outcome. We're going
yeah,
to do it right. We're going to get better." I've never seen Shad Khan interact with any
mhm,
type of fans. And it's like Jim
yeah,
Irsay really does take pride in that logo and that Colts logo and the product and the brand. And with Shad Khan,
yeah,
I just don't know how much he does. I know he wants to, make Jacksonville into this mega city or whatever, but does he
yeah,
want to turn it into that because he's passionate about the city, or does he want to print money? And when it comes to, who actually has, who can actually get in touch with Shad Khan, like what does he listen to? Is he not listening to
right,
every single red flag out there, or is he
yeah.
just so egotistical to where he wants to say, oh, this is my team, this is how I do it, watch this type of thing, and hoping it just turns out good just because I don't know, man. It's
I
just
mean,
it's
look,
just really concerning.
I've always, everything he's trying to do with the city. I don't factor that into. I look at that as a real estate play. Anybody with money looks at real estate. They all do. I
Yeah.
got buddies that got tons of money. I don't, but they do. They look at real estate stuff all the time, whether it's buying lots or buying a building or retrofitting something or doing whatever. So I don't connect those two. I think he looks at all that land and is like, man, I got to turn this into something. Maybe you were just out in Tampa when we were talking. They turn that around in 10 years. Maybe
Mhm.
he's thinking of that. I just don't understand. Well, let me go back. So, and then on top of that, I mean, the value of the team goes up. I mean, it's worth billions now, a couple billion
Yeah. I think
dollars,
it's
if
like
not three.
2.7 billion right now.
So he's sitting there going, well, I mean, I'm making money. I mean,
He's printing
okay, we're
money,
not
man.
winning, but whatever. I'm going to build up this city around it maybe and try to get things done there. But I just don't, and I've said this many times, Dalton, I don't understand how you can win in business, and you got to want to win in business because you wouldn't win. You
Mhm.
wouldn't. You got to do everything it takes to win in business, or you don't win. Nobody gets lucky to become a billionaire. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of going after it and not being afraid and putting shit on the line and taking risk and all. You know what I mean? And then winning and developing a team that wins inside your and it's like, how do you not take that and take it to a football team? And that's all football is about. It's about winning. People they want to watch a winner. Players want to
Yeah.
win. Coaches want to win. The disconnect there, it's just weird. It's like it doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? So again, I don't have a lot of faith. I'm a former player, man. I don't want to talk bad about the owner, and I'm not taking a personal shot at him. I just his track record sucks,
Yeah.
and I don't trust it. And until he does something that looks like, okay, this is this. Look, when Urban was hired, now I came around like a lot of people did. When he was first hired, I was like, what? Urban Meyer? Why? Like, just because he's got a name? He's been
Yeah.
on TV for 3 years. He's never coached in the NFL. And you think that name, and that's what I believe that Shad thought. Yeah, that's the name. I like the name. I
Yeah.
like what he did in college. Yeah, let's go. It's gonna put
Championships.
people in the
It'll
seats.
yeah.
It's gonna sell tickets. I got Trevor Lawrence. I got Urban Meyer, two of the winningest college people in the history of college football. It's all gonna work out. He didn't vet it out enough. He didn't do it enough. Like it was a bad decision. He became toxic. He became a big problem.
Absolutely.
And so I don't know. I wish I had better news for Jags. I'm waiting like you are. I keep checking my feeds. I keep looking around. I'm like, man, is anything? I'll leave it alone for a couple hours and come back. Like anything going on, and you're like, come on, man. Like, let's go. There's too many openings.
Yeah, now it's getting
There's too
nerve-wracking because now
many.
you're seeing because last week it was just the Jaguars reaching out. Now we have
Right.
what 5, 6, 7 openings, including
Seven, including the Jags right
like
now.
now the Bears and Giants don't have a GM or
I
head
know.
coach, and it's like
I
okay,
know.
now people are going to jump on us GM wise, and
Yep.
it's starting to get a little bit nerve-wracking to the point where it's like, all right, like time to I don't know, just I don't I'm not saying we need to announce a head coach, but it's just
Yep.
concerning that we have nothing coming out, and the longer Trent Baalke stays, the more nerve-wracking it is. I mean, I'm hoping Monday, they announce a head coach, and then the head coach,
Yep.
maybe it's a dream head coach, and they come in, and maybe they don't
Could
fire
be.
Baalke right away, but maybe they
Right.
give him a few days to him talk to Baalke, and then finally say, oh, he's
Yep.
done, he's gone. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, me
But
too. I think a lot of people are hoping that. Let me ask you this to change it just a minute here for a quick second. Let's name players who are not keeping, just out of
okay.
curiosity, and you can start. It doesn't matter what position. Who are you? If you're Dalton D, you're the GM for 2022. Who is not on your roster? The easy one's Taven Bryan, so take him out. I'm
Yeah.
sure he's not going to be on the roster, but who would be some of the guys? Start with one, and we'll go back and forth. How about that?
Yeah, so I'll get into that. First, I want to tease a little bit. This
There we
is the
go.
Duval Vibes podcast, guys. This is
Yeah.
a weekly show. I know we don't do it on the YouTube channel, but it is exclusively on the Relevant app. You can see the logo right up at the top. It's Relevant without the final E. And download the app and join the Jaguars Fanatics Vibe. It's a live group chat. We do live shows in there as well every week on Tuesdays. So if you guys are a fan of this, we have 186 people. So, hopefully we can get a lot of you guys over there there and, we can join the discussion. And it's a lot of fun, man. We're going to keep on having shows all throughout the off season.
There's a lot to talk about, right? I mean, we got draft,
absolutely.
We've got free agency,
it doesn't stop.
Playoffs, baby.
Oh, man,
I know we're not in it, but I love playoff football. I was fortunate enough to play in 5 playoff games and started 3 of them, including the AFC Championship game. There's nothing like playoff football. Everything's heightened, ultra focused. You can't even screw up once, because one screw up could cost you the game, could cost you the playoffs, could cost you everything. So, man, it's go time when it's playoff time. Very exciting, and hopefully our Jags can get back to that sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. My girlfriend's actually going on a bachelorette trip to Puerto Rico this weekend.
Oh boy!
On opening weekend of NFL playoffs. Are you kidding me?
I know.
Do this. This is the summer of George, man. All right, so
that's where all the surfers hang out down there. You better be careful, man. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. He's from Puerto Rico, and I'll be good.
There you go. So, going back home. Beautiful.
Yeah. So to get into your question. We're gonna cut players, man. We're gonna cut players. I'm gonna start with the offensive line, man.
Good start.
I'm, there's 2 guys, but I'll go with one. It's gonna be Brandon Linder. I love Brandon Linder, but he's a high-priced guy, and he just can't stay healthy, man. I mean, he's a guy that you'll get 4 games out of him. He gets hurt. He's out for 6 games. He comes back, and a total new injury comes up. 2 games later, and you can't rely on that, man. So
I agree.
And then there's going to be a lot of work to do with the offensive line. First of all, I want to say this. There's 2 things I know about the offensive line. One is that I thought Cam Robinson was the best starter on the offensive line this year. And number two, Walker Little needs to start next year on the offensive line. So that's going to create, a whole bunch of questions right there. So.
Yeah, and if he can play right side and keep Cam at left, let's do it. Not a great deal. I'm going Norwell. I think Norwell's time is up. I think it was a round, trying to put a square peg into a round hole, or however you say that. And I just don't think it ever worked. He's not a guard that's just going to take a guy off the line of scrimmage and move him. He's more of a move guy himself, get in position, and get in the way kind of thing. And that doesn't work with a power running game and play action pass. Too inconsistent, not enough push. Andrew Norwell would not be my left guard next year.
Yeah, and I agree with you on there. There's going to be, I mean, Jaguars from 2019 to 2020 did not do anything when it comes to offensive line movement, but next year, I mean, they have to totally go in there and really
Yep.
evaluate what you need out of the spot. And,
Yep.
one of the guys at number one, a lot of people are talking about, Evan Neal maybe being
Yeah.
a pick over there, and he's another left tackle. So
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know if you're going to play
Yeah.
musical chairs. I mean, I'm not into, I mean, with Jawan Taylor, I keep him next year, but I don't know if I want him starting because he's just, he has some really
No.
bad games.
Well, he's got to earn it. He's got to
Yeah.
earn it. I know he said he won't play guard, but he may rethink that and put on some weight. But Evan Neal, look, he's big. I don't know if he's got the feet, man. I see him get beat around the edge a little bit. I know he does a good job overall. I don't know. I got to see more. I like seeing the combine. I like seeing how they work out. I like seeing their pro day before I got to see them move.
Well, also
Those big guys got to see move in space before you can really determine how athletic they are, how good they are with their feet, and if they can move in space and redirect in space. It's easier when you got a guy next to you. You know what I mean? But when you're doing those drills, it really kind of shows what they can do athletically. I don't know if he's athletic enough.
You see, my perspective on the offensive line, offensive tackles, it seems like just every year they're all throughout the first round. I mean, there's 5 or 6, pretty good ones to get drafted in the first round, but very rarely can you really get elite edge rushing talent. And I think that we have a real opportunity if we can go in there and get, like, I think an Aiden Hutchinson would be an awesome complement to a guy like Josh Allen because, they have really different skill sets. Then all of a sudden you have DeJuan Smoot as the number 3. And then, you could have one of the better, probably the best defensive end duo in the NFL. And it's just very rare because it's not the same thing. Like wide receivers are found all throughout kind of the top 3 rounds. I think offensive linemen kind of are throughout the first round, but edge rushers, man, like those guys are like top 5 picks generally. And it's, when it gets later, it's a lot harder to really hit on it because those guys are usually freak athletes, man. Those guys usually, like you said at the combine, at the pro days, they just put up incredible numbers. And, we'll see as it plays out when it comes to Thibodeau versus Aiden Hutchinson. I know, everybody's on board with trading back, which sounds good in theory, but, we go through the situation of like, okay, well, okay, you want to trade back. Okay, cool. Well, what are you willing? Like, what if you trade back to number 5 and all you're going to get in return is a 3rd round pick? It's probably not worth it. So, when people say they want to trade back, let me know what you want to trade back for. If not, I mean, stay at 1 and get your selection of any guy in this upcoming draft.
There's not a clear number 1 like last year. People would trade up for Trevor if they were allowed to. So, and I want to see Hutchinson move too. He was not he was impressive against Ohio State. He was not impressive against Georgia. So which one is he? I don't know. I didn't watch enough of him, but I want to see him move. I want to see Thibodeau move. I want to see guys like that, and we'll get into the draft and all of that. Shame about the receiver last night blowing out his ACL. That looked awful.
Yeah.
I would listen if there's a wideout. I'd take a wideout. I mean, there's really not a clear number 1 yet. That may evolve as we get closer, but we'll see. I don't know. But Evan Neal, I'm not sure. I'm not sold yet, and I'm not sold on either. I haven't seen Thibodeau, so I can't say anything about him. Those games are on way too late at night for me to watch. Oregon, I do not watch 10 o'clock kickoff games, especially with teams I've no interest in really watching. But
yeah, same here.
We'll see what happens with that. I tell you a guy that I'm not bringing back O'Shaughnessy. I
was going to say that too. Yeah.
And I don't have anything. I think he flashes sometimes. We're like, okay, man, this guy could be a good tight end. And then you're like, yeah, then he's hurt. And then it's not good. It's just, he's not around it. He's like Linder. Linder plays a little bit more than him, but from an injury standpoint, you can't count on his health. And, once that body wears out, listen, I was a victim of that, right? I remember Coughlin coming to me after I hurt my foot. 2 years after I hurt my knee, he said, Tom, we can't invest in that anymore.
Yeah.
Wayne can't do it. You're not available. It's not your fault. You just your body's not staying together. It's falling apart. And once you damage goods, forget it. You know what I mean? And it's part of the beast. It's part of the game. And I got it, unfortunately. But that's part of it. So, we'll see. You got to look. You got to be available. That's like
Yeah.
if you're not available, you lose value. And
Yeah, no, Shaughnessy's a guy like he starts off in the 53-man roster and then he gets hurt, and then you're out there getting like Jacob Hollister on waivers, and
yeah,
you know what I mean, and it's a tough situation. Steve Boss with the $5 donation says swap first round picks with Atlanta for Ridley and take one of their second rounders, and Burks is the best wide receiver in my opinion, Tom.
okay.
Yeah, and that's the point that I was making. Like, if we were to trade back and look in Atlanta, they want to figure out if they want to give up Ridley. I mean, that's something we really had to do our homework on, because Ridley is the perfect receiver for what we need right now. We need a speed guy. We need a really good route runner. We need a guy that can create separation. And that's what Calvin Ridley is. But we also don't want a CJ Henderson mental health, warrior in here. So we definitely need to do our homework with that. And I mean, if he's all good and set, we should not let any other team, beat us to that punch, because we need that so bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're going to get Chark. Chark, hopefully he's not going anywhere. He can come back and compete for that spot. And if he was healthy this year, who knows? He was averaging 22 yards a catch before he got hurt. So, he's got some work to do. He's got to stay healthy too. I tell you a guy that I'm probably – well, he's still restricted free agent because it'll only be his third year, but really disappointed in Devon Hamilton. I thought he was going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
The size that he possesses as a three, I think he should have played the three technique more than nose. I would have done that. But he's a guy that really underperformed. He did fine it's funny. The last game, the defense played great. It's hard to sit there and be like, golly, but that was few and far between. Even Josh Allen, although Josh had a lot more pressures than we probably realized, but he really didn't stand out all year long. He flashed. He actually, prior to Sunday, you didn't hear his name hardly for weeks.
Yeah, it's like he either has a really good game or he's invisible, it seems like.
Yeah. So, obviously Josh Allen's one of your better players. You got to keep him, but I didn't think he performed well. But Devon Hamilton, he's kind of on the bubble for me right now. He's got a lot to prove next year if he's going to be one of my main guys at that defensive line.
Yeah, and it stinks we couldn't see more of Jordan Smith. I think he got a couple plays late in the year, but I think he needs to probably put on some weight.
Yeah, he looks thin. He looks thin.
And one guy I just can't stand to see out there, and apparently coaches love him because he's such a good locker room guy. Is just Trey Herndon. He just doesn't seem fit to play at the NFL level. He's very slow. It always seems like he's running behind guys, and he just doesn't seem like he's totally fit to be out there playing. So that's the guy I look to hopefully upgrade from. I know this year it was we're in a weird situation where we had to trade CJ. We're pretty much forced to trade CJ Henderson away. And by the way, they're having major buyer's remorse on that.
He's not even playing, is he?
Carolina Panthers. Yeah, they're saying the same things we are. Like, where is he? What's going on with him? Like, what's up with his mental health? And Panthers are one of those teams that's in trouble, man. I mean, they have limited draft capital. They're playing musical chairs at quarterback. So, and they give up a third-round pick for CJ Henderson. So
unbelievable. Good trade for us, right? I wonder who pulled that trigger, but good job on our end to take a player that didn't want to be here and get something out of him.
Yeah.
So that's a positive. How about I tell you, what? I mentioned Daniel Thomas before. I think that guy's a baller, man.
I like him, man.
You got to find a spot for him, and of course Cisco, and you got Rayshon Jenkins. So your safety class should be pretty good next year. Coming in. But I think Daniel Thomas, he can play, he can run, he can hit, he can cover. I'm a big fan of his. I thought he did a good job last year prior to getting hurt. And when he got the opportunities this year, he did perform at a high level. So,
what would you do about Damian Wilson? Would you try to upgrade from him, or do you think he's kind of earned a spot? Yeah.
He look, a couple things. He does hit. He's a good thumper. He's a good blitzer. And what makes him a good blitzer is he doesn't have to cheat. He's got enough speed to get there without showing the quarterback blitz prior to the snap. He's good in coverage. Made some great plays just last Sunday. So no, I'm keeping him. I'm keeping Miles. Those are two guys I can build around. Um, not to say I wouldn't draft another backer if he's there. Not obviously number one, but throughout the draft, I'm bringing more guys in. But no, I think he earned. I think he earned it, man. He had a good year overall. I think he had a better year than Miles Jet.
Yeah,
overall, I really do.
definitely.
I think he made more plays than Miles, and yeah, he's a guy I'm definitely keeping back. I'm bringing back.
So I guess the big thing about the Jaguars roster is that like it seems like we have a bunch of solid players, but we need like those game-changing guys. Like we don't have the
Yeah,
alpha at wide receiver, we don't have the alpha at tight end. Along the
correct.
offensive line, we don't have like that dude, and also on a defense, man, we need the top, edge rusher. Even like maybe Tyson Campbell can turn into like a top, defensive back, but. And that's one reason why I'm a little bit scared about moving back in a draft. It's like, we can actually go out there and really get a premier player at number
Yep.
one. It's just go scout the right guys. And,
Yeah.
that's the big thing about, because you look around, I mean, the Chiefs have, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, those are top end guys. The
No doubt.
Buccaneers, they have weapons galore and on the offense and defense. So we need to start figuring out ways that we can get those, high end impact guys and
Yep.
just top 5 players at their positions.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. We don't have a stud number one wideout, as you pointed out as well. So we do need, like, I think our grunts are okay, our core guys, but the star ones, aside from the quarterback, and I think Tyson Campbell, man, he's always right there. He does.
Yeah, and
He
I
doesn't
like
get
his run
burned a
defense
lot.
too. I like his run defense a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a
That
little bit
play he
underrated.
made, that play he made Sunday was big, man. They didn't
Yeah,
let him
against
turn the
Jonathan
corner.
Taylor.
They
Yeah.
got it faster than Jonathan to the corner, man. It's a tough, tall task. Jonathan Taylor very fast, but I think Tyson Campbell's going to be okay. I mean, you need a rush. You need consistent rush to be able to really, play that position. But man, he doesn't get burnt. Does he make plays on the ball? He's gotten better throughout the year, but not to where he needs to be. He's got to work on his hands.
Yeah.
They all do. I mean, gosh, he barely had any picks this year. So awful. But no, I like Tyson Campbell. I think he's going to be all right. I agree with you on Herndon. You're going to have to find someone to play nickel, to be a part of that part of the defense. So I think overall, I think Brown was okay. Roy Robinson Harris, I thought, was a good player. Jihad Ward ended up being a pretty good player against the run, especially when given a chance, and okay against the pass. Smoot, all that guy does is, I love what he said about the sack. The wife said, "Don't you come home without that sack." That's hilarious. Man. I told my wife that. We were both laughing. That was good stuff. But
have you ever had any kind of crazy incentive when you played before? Or is that a new era thing?
No, they had plenty. I listen. I was on 1-year contracts every year. My last year was my biggest year. They gave me $100G up front, paid me $600G, gave me a chance to win the job, which I did, and then I got hurt in the second game. So that was it. But I did get playoff money. I was still on the team, so that's free money. So it wasn't. That was my best year. But no, I was never a multi, deal where I would have incentives to earn, because I wish I did. That's nice, getting 250G at the end of the year for getting another sack, or 500G. It's not. Listen, it's real money, but it's different. So it's just they don't make that for the rest of their life. Some guys do, that the big players, but a lot of guys they'll be back in the workforce.
Yeah, they gotta learn to invest it, man. They gotta learn to invest it.
Not everyone's a millionaire. A lot of us have to go into the workforce. After we're done playing, it's just part of the deal. You didn't make enough to just sit back and not. You got to find a new career and find a new way. So, but I'm happy for those guys, man. It's great, and it's great that they got the chance to reach those incentives. Hey, Marvin Jones Jr. I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but leading receiver. I mean, 70,
we asked him to do
75 catches, maybe.
And we asked him to be a wide receiver one, where he's never been that in his career. He's like a third wide receiver. He's a red zone guy, and we wanted him to be like, the guy that beat them deep, the guy to get the first downs, the guy to get the touchdowns. I mean, we just And obviously Laviska Shenault has a lot of work to do this
Oh
offseason, man.
gosh.
I mean, that's a lot. I mean, he had issues when it comes to catching the ball. He was also
Yeah.
confused on, the plays that they were running. He was always
Yep.
on different pages with Trevor Lawrence. And, like last game, they had to call a timeout, and Trevor Lawrence went straight up to him and
Yep.
said, like, you need to be like right here. And like, he's telling him what to do. It's like, and he had a pretty decent rookie year. So I don't know if he just got kind of fat and happy and complacent. But man, he's got a lot of work to do just on himself before he returns his ass over to OTAs.
He's one of my. I mean, he's kind of on the bubble for me. I'm not impressed by him.
Yeah,
It's not enough. He doesn't catch a rock. I mean, you've got how many drops did he have Sunday? Like important, critical catches.
One of them was a touchdown,
drops.
man.
Yeah,
One of them was a touchdown.
So no, he's got a lot to prove.
Yeah.
You can't go by just, hey, that 58-yard he had earlier in the year, that was fantastic. That's one out of how many?
Oh, that was his only deep
That was
ball.
like his only real great play.
I mean, all he can do is like slant some bubble screens is what he's been like limited to. It's like if you want to be a wide receiver, man, in today's NFL, you got to learn the route tree because I would rather give it to Agnew on a bubble screen, than waste it on him. So
good night, baby. Yeah, absolutely. And Agnew, by the way, we did that poll on the relevant.
Yeah,
Agnew
he was nice.
Got some votes. He was, man. He was great at returning kicks and filling the void at wide receiver. Too bad he got hurt. Hopefully he's
he had a weird injury too, so I hope he comes back well. I hope Travis Etienne comes back well.
Yep.
So those are, and Travis Etienne, he said he's hopeful that he'll be back running by training camp. It's like, man, that's a long injury, man.
It is, yeah.
That's an 11-month injury. Like he's hoping to be back by training camp like that. I just hope because he's a speed guy, man. I really hope he doesn't lose a step because I mean, right now we need speed, and I hope he retains some of that.
Yeah, listen, both your running backs are coming off major injuries, so hopefully they can both get healthy. J-Rob with the Achilles, that's no joke. That's gonna. Although Cam Akers came back in 5 months, so
he's had some tough injuries this year, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, it's part of the game, unfortunately. But Etienne, hopefully he can become the player they drafted him to be. But we'll see, man. It's it's funny. I was hoping by now we knew the direction we were going in. It's crazy that we don't.
Yeah, hopefully next week we'll be doing this podcast on the Relevant app. So if you guys, there's 202 people in here, man. So if you guys aren't a part of it, man, download the app. I'll put the graphic up again for you guys. It's the Relevant app without the last E. Join Jaguars Fanatics. If you join today, man, drop your name. Let us know where you're from, man. Definitely, we're all about discussion in there. And I know a lot of Jaguar fans, they don't feel like they have a voice, but go in there. You can communicate with Tom McManus and myself, amongst all kinds of other Jags.
Yeah, we don't cancel anybody on the Relevant app, so you can speak freely.
It's unfiltered.
It's unfiltered, and you get exclusive content like this where we're talking just back and forth about the Jags and the state of the team and the franchise. So check it out, RELEVNT without the A, and free download, real easy to do, and then just search for the Jaguars Fanatics Vibe. We call our channels Vibe. So check them out. They're chat rooms, basically. It's a group messaging app with live interactive podcasting throughout. So it's great technology. We've been doing this all year, and I've been on it for over a year now. And, man, it's really a simple way, an effective way to do a podcast. And, hey, if you're out there thinking about doing a podcast, go to Relevant. You can start your own. You don't need no permission. You don't need any equipment. You don't need anything. You just need your phone and a good signal. And you can make it private so you can just try it out and test it and then send it to your friends. You can make it public and invite everybody that you know and do what you want. You don't have to talk about sport. Talk about anything. Talk about anything. We've got collections of Girl Power and Weedopedia and the markets and Pro Sports Fanatics. So all the sports are there. And we're getting into college life, campus life, college ball. It's a great piece of technology. So check it out. A lot of great shows on the Relevant app.
Absolutely. And also, before we leave, I did drop Tom McManus's YouTube channel, Catching Up with Tommy Mac, down in the description. He has a YouTube channel, so definitely go over there and subscribe to his channel. He's always posting some of his content on there. So all different ways to find us, man. We're very approachable people. We're also both on Twitter. If you just search us up, we're on there. We're everywhere. We're trying to get all over it.
We're both the same. All we want is our Jaguars to win.
Yeah,
that's it.
More, man.
It's not. I don't. That's all I'm looking for.
We're
Just
tired of
some.
being therapy sessions, man.
Yeah, I know.
Uh,
I feel like you should lay down on a couch or something. You could, do this show. But no, it's been great all year long. We're going to keep it rolling throughout the off season, and go Jags, man. I mean, look, if I'd ride or die, I'm with the Jags for life. And although I may, give them a hard time and hammer them from time to time, but it all comes from passion of just wanting them to get back to the winning ways. Because I know what this city's like, and it's for the city. The city rocks when the Jags are winning. This city goes off
yeah.
not many's not the impact because we're a smaller community. The impact you feel more because of the community, and when they're rocking, this whole city's rocking. So I
And
wanted to get back to that.
it's tough, man, because I know I was born in 93. I'm 28 years old. And, us people under 30, we didn't really get to live through the good old 90s days. So we don't
Yep.
really know except of a blurb and, in
Yep.
2017. And, I was in junior high back in 2007.
Well,
So it's,
yeah.
we don't know a lot about it, man. We are so, and all the, we have a bunch of young people in here that stick with this channel and all that stuff that,
Yep.
we're ready for it. And once that day happens, man, it's gonna be awesome, man.
Well, I'll just tell you, back then we just had a bunch of guys that were tough, that worked hard. Most of us were cast-offs. We weren't draft picks. We got cut from teams. We got put up for the expansion draft. Shoot, I was out of football for 2 years. I was like this nomad wandering the earth. Not knowing what to do with this
You're the
football
fourth
career.
preseason guy.
Yeah, exactly. No, no doubt, no doubt. Listen, that was a very challenging thing for me to make the team, but that's who we were. And look, it wasn't easy early on, but we stuck together. They added the right pieces to the puzzle. We did have a quarterback. Mark Brunell was a very good quarterback. We loved Mark as our QB, and then of course we just kept adding talent and for a 4-year run, 96 through 99, we were a formidable team. Teams. I mean, not that they didn't want to play us, but when they played us, it was a very physical game. We were very well conditioned. We didn't get tired. We weren't allowed mental errors. There wasn't a lot of mistakes. If there were, you either heard about it or they pulled you. There was no messing around. It was consistent. It was honest. It was fair. And not everybody loved Tom Coughlin. I did because I knew him for so long. But everyone respected that guy because all he cared about was winning. No matter what anybody says out there, that's all that guy cares about is winning. And he had that whole team, that whole locker room believing. And we kept working and kept believing, and we were tight together too. And this team's tight, and it's important that they're tight because you're talking about all walks of life from all over. And when they come together for the common cause of being on a football team and being together, that's a special team. Society should spend more time in a locker room and understand that we don't care about what you look like or who you pray to, who you vote for. It's all about your character and can you play the game, and that's it. And it was a special time, and they were special in 2017. They were special. You're always special when you win,
Yeah.
So hopefully we get back to that, and we'll be talking about this team for years to come in a positive light.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm all about it. And I guess
man.
it starts this week. Find the right head coach, figure out what
Yeah.
you're going to do with Balky, and then we can roll from there. But hey, Tom, I'll let you go, man. Thanks so much for coming
Yeah, it was a
on
great
here,
time.
and thanks everyone for joining, man.
Yeah,
And,
thank you, people, everyone.
yeah, and
All
we'll
right,
be in touch with you guys with all the Jaguars are doing, man. So go Jags.
Let's hope something happens soon and we can celebrate back here on the channel. All right,
Absolutely.
brother. Peace.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.